So we went and did Uwharrie for Memorial Day weekend. We stayed at Arrowhead Campground, and it was a nice enough campground. And then we spent 2 days doing the trails. The first day was dry, and then the second day it was raining, so we kind of had a varied experience on the trails. So we took on the first day, we took the main road out, and we come out to the main drag out here, 109. At about middle of the road here is where the outpost is, and you can get gas and groceries and food and different things there. It's not super cheap, but it wasn't too bad. You can get your passes for Uwharrie. It's $5 a day for the passes, and you're supposed to display them in your vehicle. And then you can gas up, and then we headed on down to the first trailhead. So we started off doing Daniel. Now Daniel, Trail 390 here, is the most difficult trail in Uwharrie, and it was extremely fun, exciting trail. I really enjoyed Daniel. Lisa was a little scared of it, but it was dry and we didn't have any incidents and everything went fine. So we took 390, and then we hooked up for a little bit here on 92, which is Rocky Mountain Loop Trail. And we took that down until we intersected with Trail 91. Trail 91 is Dickey Bell, and Dicky Bell is the second most difficult trail in Uwharrie. And we took that down to Dutch John Road. And this is Dutch John Road, not Dutch John Trail, which we took later. But we took Dutch John Road back up until we intersected with Trail 92, Rocky Mountain Loop again. And then we took the Rocky Mountain Loop Trail over to Trail 93. It turns into Trail 93, which is Sawmill Trail. And we took the Sawmill Trail over to Slab Pile, which is 79. And we used 79 to get down to Trail 90. Trail 90 is the Dutch John Trail, and the Dutch John Trail would be the third most difficult trail in Uwharrie. All the rest of the trails are just basic, easy to moderate trails, but this is considered a difficult trail. So we took Dutch John Trail down and around until we came back up and intersected with Trail 89, which is the Wolf Den Trail. And we took the Wolf Den Trail out to the parking lot, intersected the main road, and then drove back to our campground. So, as I said, the next day it was raining. We did all the trails basically in reverse, except we did not do the Daniel Trail because of the wet. It would have made it much more difficult, and we didn't want to try that. Some of the folks in our party said that they didn't want to try that in the wet, so we skipped the Daniel Trail, but we did all the rest of the trails in reverse, and we actually did some of the little offshoot trails. We finished off the Rocky Mountain Loop and the Sawmill Trail and the Slab Pile and all those trails. So that was our weekend. It was a great time, and we'll probably go back as soon as we can. This is the group of Nova Jeepers that were with us this weekend. On the far left, we've got the 84 CJ7 on 35-inch tires, then my JT on 37-inch tires. We had a four-door JKU there in the middle that is on 35-inch tires. We had a two-door JK that is sitting on 37s, and then on the far end, and the individual who led the group on day one had to leave, unfortunately, on day two, is the white JT diesel on 37s. So it was a good group, very capable vehicles. So right off the paved road, Daniel starts off like this, but this doesn't last very long. Just around the corner, we're running into the first set of obstacles. So as I said, just around the corner, we ran into the first obstacle. So this is a somewhat tight corner, plenty of room for the JT to turn around, but you need to turn and position yourself to take the proper line. Some of the hardcore rigs I've seen take that center line right over the big rock. We all elected to take the line to the right-hand side by the tree. The idea is you position yourself so that you've got your driver's side tire on that rock in the middle, and then you've got your passenger side tire in the dirt just away from the tree. Thanks to Lisa for getting out and walking Daniel She took all this video. I have a few clips from the inside, but I did forget my external mount, so I didn't get as many videos as I would have liked. She was a trooper. This is a very steep climb with very little traction, and you get better traction in your vehicle than you do on foot. So by the time we got to the top of Daniel, she was pretty tired, I think, and the speed of the group, we didn't want to slow things down, so we didn't get a whole lot of video past Daniel on the first day. So here I'm still trying to get myself positioned with the proper line. And a little loose dirt created a little bit of a traction issue, but it's really just a matter of repositioning a couple inches at a time just to see where that traction, that proper line is going to be. Fortunately, the camera cut out just as I caught the proper line and got traction to get up over the first edge. And you can see the black Jeep at the top of the hill. Unfortunately, one of our folks that started off with us just made the first obstacle but was having some brake problems, and due to the brake problem decided not to continue on.
So does he need a spotter coming up?
Yeah, this curve, he got caught up at the bottom and down here. Get up there.
Vehicles spaced out so that we don't create an issue where we're too close to each other during the climbs. Once you get up this section, you turn the corner, and right around the corner is the second obstacle on Daniel, which is probably the most famous and most difficult. And now this is kind of the theme of the day. This CJ is very adept at this type of wheeling. The short wheelbase lends itself very well, and the driver's got a lot of experience, so made every trail look extremely easy. One of the great things about our group, where we had two JTs, two JKs, one two-door, one four-door, and then this little CJ, is you got to see the difference between the vehicles and how the different wheelbases, setups, tire sizes, all that played out with these obstacles. And he just makes this look easy.
Look easy.
So on some of these inside shots, I've got the camera up on the dash, and you can hear the dog panting in the back. We've got her in a dog hammock strapped up in the back seat so that she's protected, but she pants when she gets nervous, and this definitely made her nervous. So this is the second obstacle. So you come up into this kind of deep wash, make a tight right-hand turn, and then you'll see a rock face, or rock/dirt face, fairly steep on the right-hand side, with a little bit of a V-notch.
Hey Joe, you got a copy?
and you've got to position yourself properly depending on your vehicle to navigate that and not slip off and do body damage against that side wall.
Brake issue, I don't want to keep going up these rock climbs, so I'm going to get turned around once Garner comes up, and I think I'm going to bail.
You got a, yep, right there.
So here I am trying to get my passenger side tire up on the rock wall for the proper position that I don't slip down and lay the side of the Jeep up against that rock wall.
You don't want to get too high on the wall. Driver.
As you can see from the inside, you see nothing but treetops, so it makes it a little on the difficult side.
It's gonna come down hard. Very, like, keep that brake on. You're gonna start coming down the wall. Okay, turn it just a little bit, driver. Yep, and just take it right there, nice and easy. A little bit, passenger. Yep, that's a good place. A little bit, driver. A little passenger. Easy, real easy. A little bit, passenger. Okay.
As I said, we had a pretty good group here. The leader was giving me the spot that I needed, and that was just enough to get me up over that obstacle.
Turn, driver.
Here it is from the outside view.
What's going to happen is it's going to come down hard. Very, like,
I allowed my passenger tire to climb a little too high on the wall, and he was just repositioning me so I was a little further down on the wall.
Yep, and just take it right there, nice and easy. A little bit, passenger. Yep, that's a good place. A little bit, driver. A little passenger. Easy, real easy. A little bit, passenger. Okay. It's gonna feel dippy.
Crazy.
Too crazy.
He does. He makes it look like easy peasy. I'm probably gonna get him again, right? He's not gonna need to go up on the wall like that. Squeeze. Squeeze. You're stuck.
As you can see, with the smaller vehicle, he was able to take a different line, and he chose the line well and had no issues whatsoever. So one of the things that we really enjoyed about Daniel is that you constantly have this terrain. It's very uphill, and it's rough terrain, varied terrain, and it just keeps it very interesting. So this little stretch between the last obstacle and this next obstacle is just a little rough, loose rock, and then you have to get up and take another hairpin turn and position yourself to go up over this particular obstacle. It is a unlevel rock face next to a tree, and it's very narrow. And the concept is you want to make sure you position your tires high up enough on the rock to keep away from the tree, but not too far over to the passenger side to where you lean into the tree. Especially with my Gladiator being so long with the rack on the back, I was very careful to make sure that my positioning was correct. As you can see, I'm getting some really good spotting, and the quality of the spotting actually made this look a lot easier than what it was. And you could tell from Lisa's expressions that she gets pretty nervous with this stuff. All that was is the tread of my tire popping off of a rock. See how close the side is to that tree. But as I said, excellent spotting. They got me through it without a hitch. And here's the same shot from the interior with the dog pant in the background. And you can see from the side of the tree the damage that's been caused to both the tree and probably a couple of rigs.
Doesn't look scary from this point of view.
I know, right?
And of course the little CJ that could. Once again, he made the obstacle look pretty easy.
It's gonna come up again. Just a little bit. This is gonna keep coming up.
Easy peasy, look at that. Woohoo.
And this was the last obstacle going up Daniel, and I found this one to be extremely interesting. So completely different than the others. A lot of large rocks with a lot of loose dirt and small rock combined together to make traction an issue. And it's extremely uphill. As always, the camera doesn't really show the steepness of the trail. It kind of flattens it out, but very, very steep. And every single vehicle with different tires, different wheelbases, had different issues in different areas of this particular trail. But I just found this to be extremely fun. One thing to note, as I mentioned, day one, we did not have rain until late in the day, and the trail was very dry, very, very dusty. So we had dust on everything.
Where?
And this is a perfect example of the game of inches. So all they're doing is adjusting his line by a couple inches at a time, trying to find that right spot where he's going to get the traction.
Well, that one rock is sticking out. Might be his other traction.
Stop, 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 stop.
There we go. And what? The stock is sitting on.
Now he got off the rock.
No, this wheel's on the rock. Okay, what can we do to not carry the car?
Sometimes you get so intent on the obstacles that you forget to look around and just see the beauty of this place. Very, very nice scenery.
Right up against a rock.
Lisa didn't realize that sometimes that is the point. So at this point, I'm approaching the same spot that the yellow two-door had issues on. Where we start playing the game of inches and the stop, stall, start. At this point, they're just trying to reposition me so that my rear driver's side tire avoids hitting that rock and having traction issues both front and rear at the same time.
Same rock.
Driver. I'm sorry.
I said that right.
As you can see, they
There
moved
you
me
go.
over just enough to avoid that rock in the back. And then I hit the next one.
Don't go back down. Don't go back down.
And then bump it.
He's got it.
And just a little tiny reposition. And success. So one of the problems with being toward the back of the group, we did not get a whole lot of shots of the front of the group. But here's one. And this rig never had any problems all day long. That diesel motor supplies more torque than my gas motor and makes it a little easier. Plus, as you can tell, he doesn't have all that heavy weight bolted to his. This little segment is on the backside of Daniel over at Dickey Bell. Unfortunately, we did not get a whole lot of footage beyond this point on day one. We started with a better pace. There's a lot less obstacles. So with a faster pace, we did not want to slow down the group and get out and take a lot of photos. We actually did run into a problem on Dickey Bell. We ran into some congestion coming up as we were going down. So we did elect to try to take the bypass. Unfortunately, the bypass had its own challenges. It was a little bit tighter than what we were expecting. It was very challenging for the JTs, and I actually had my vehicle slide off the trail just a little tiny bit when the tire on the uphill side caught a tree root, and it slid me down the hill and wedged this pine tree, this dead pine tree, between the tire and the rock rail, and kind of pushed the fender in. So this was kind of like the beginning of the bad luck for me. Fortunately, we were able to get it off and continue down. We had to get off the bypass, though, because the leader and his JT was having some difficulty with the tightness of the bypass down below. So I did not get any more footage of Dicky Bell or Dutch John going up at this stage. On the Dutch John trail, there is an uphill with a left-hand turn, and when you get up, you've got a number of different paths, and I do show some of this on day 2 in the rain, but we didn't capture any more on day 1. And this is pretty much indicative of Dicky Bell. So you've got this varied terrain, you've got and you can tell it's starting to rain now, so it's getting a little bit slick, but you've got a couple of small water crossings, you've got a lot of steep hills, you've got some just general groomed trails. They have what they call mud humps throughout the trails that I believe are designed to control erosion, and it makes it interesting. Now, I've seen some videos of some stock height vehicles that have to approach those mud humps from a slight angle to avoid scraping the bottom, but none of these rigs had any problem because they're all slightly lifted, at least larger tires. I said just the sheer combination of different terrains, and then there was this one-lane bridge which was pretty cool, but it just made the entire trip very worthwhile. I think it's the most fun we've had on a four-wheel drive trips to date.
Dang, that was a nice bridge.
Starting off on day 2, we had quite a bit of rain overnight and quite a bit of rain throughout the day in patches. We changed it up, as I said. Our lead in the white Gladiator had to depart, but we just kind of shared responsibility for the lead throughout the day, and it was a very enjoyable trail. The difference between a dry trail and a wet trail in Uwharrie is a drastic difference. So completely different traction with the clay or the wet clay. I've heard some people say that it's very similar, not quite as bad maybe as Windrock. But the clay definitely, wet clay definitely adds a challenge. You can see these dirt humps, mud humps as they call them, constantly throughout the trail. One of our team mentioned that it was almost lulling to continue to go over these things about every 20 feet or so.
Looks slippery. We had a nice rain last night.
So this is actually going up at Dickey Bell where we took the bypass the day before. Obviously it's wet and a little bit more challenging. And we actually all went up this and we stayed to the left, which is the easier of the routes. Actually the route that I came down after we jumped off the bypass the day before. But this was a pretty fun segment.
Holy Toledo, look at that. I actually want to do this. Stuck?
Sometimes you just gotta find your line. As you can tell here, the wet clay presents a little bit more of a challenge than it did on the dry. Right now. Perfect. Nice. So at this stage, two of our group with the two doors decided that they wanted to go back down the hill and then come up the more challenging line in the middle. The absolute most challenging line is off to the the right-hand side as you're coming up, but they took the middle course, which was a lot of fun.
See the fresh bird? Or the fresh skid mark?
Where I'm standing is kind of the break point, so if he were to go off to the left-hand side, on my left-hand side, then he would be taking the harder route. The medium route is toward the my right-hand side. There it is. So for the entire trip, this was the only spot where the CJ actually had to really work it, and it wasn't just an easy climb for him. Right,
like another 6 inches where you'll stay on it.
right there.
You're on the top of it right now.
There it goes. Almost.
Really close.
Take it driver just a little bit.
Okay, right there. You're still on that rock.
Oh, man, almost.
I'm gonna try for like right there. That's a big ledge.
That is a big ledge.
You're good right there. You're still on the rock with your back tire. I think you need to go hard passenger to get up that thing.
That's it. Nice.
You got this. Yeah. Nice job.
And here's the second two-door giving it a shot. Same line as the CJ7.
What? I'm not trying. I'm turning to the driver and I'm sliding into the passenger side. See, I'm just sliding into that hole.
Yeah, try to go a little passenger.
More passenger, you said?
Yeah, a little passenger. There it goes. Just stay in it. Nice.
Same rock he was caught on?
Yeah.
That is slick.
Yeah. There you go. Nice. These two were very fun to
Nicely
watch
done.
on this trail. Obviously, they each had different problems at different points. This was actually one of the most funny situations that we saw, where the little Suzuki is, which was a quite capable vehicle. That's the hardest line up. There's some very large rocks, very steep. Where the Black 4Runner's trying to come up is a little bit of an S-turn, and then the mud makes it a little bit challenging. To the far side of him, there's a spot where there's more rocks that's a little challenging there. You can see the rocks where the guy's walking. And then further past that, where the white Lexus is sitting, is just the easiest route, but muddy and slick. And as we came up, the white Lexus was having to winch up the very easy spot. These are all stock vehicles with all-terrain tires, and the girlfriends of the two guys driving the Lexuses made the point that they'd never been shown up by Jeeps, or rarely shown up by Jeeps, which we thought was hilarious. Because as you watch, the Jeep that's waiting on them to get up just actually crawled up one of the harder sections right behind them.
Thanks, guys.
Front end of the Lexus pointed right at the trees.
Yeah, that next section though, you're not going to be able to do. You got to turn around and go back.
Yeah.
It always helps to add a little humor.
The next one is the steep hill that has that sharp turn.
So this guy takes about a minute to come up the hill where the other three vehicles took about 40 minutes. Those silly Jeeps. Unfortunately, that was all the video that we captured for the weekend. Here's some clips that different pictures that people took of different vehicles. Hey, look, guys, this is a great trip. I loved Uwharrie. I'll definitely go back. Daniel was phenomenal. Dickey Bell and Dutch John were super great trails. All the rest of the trails were a lot of fun with a lot of great scenery. We got lucky. We went with a great group of people. We had a great mix of vehicles. We had the rainy days, which wasn't fun from a camping perspective, but made it interesting on the trails from a traction perspective. It made it seem like a totally different trail system, to be honest with you. We will definitely be going back to Uwharrie the next chance I get, and I would love to go with the same group of people. Unfortunately, we did have some folks that had to bow out. We had one guy with the brake problem. He made the first obstacle and had to turn around and go back. We lost the guy that initially set this trip up. He had some issues that he had to deal with at home and couldn't attend. And then our lead in the white Gladiator had to depart a little bit early due to some family issues. So it was a great group, though, and we would like to see more folks out there with us. It makes it for a great time. So, hey, guys, really appreciate you watching. Subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and we'll see you on the next trail run.